Gospel 1360. Gloria Leonard Ministries presents Preparing Hearts, Changing Lives radio broadcast. Preparing Hearts, Changing Lives talk show pursuing family wholeness. We're doing a new thing. We're making a way in the desert to reclaim and regain what the devil has stolen. Be aware this show can be informative and controversial. Tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:15 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. and on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. For more information and bookings, visit www.glminphcl.net. That's www.glminphcl.net. Or call 877-232-0255. Now, here's your host, Gloria Leonard.
Good morning, listening audience. It's another dreary day out there, but it's all good. It's all good. As you know, today is December the 7th. And on December the 7th, December the 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. And the attack lasted about 2 hours. And during that time, the Japanese destroyed nearly 200 naval vessels, eight battleships, almost 200 airplanes, 2,000 American soldiers died, and another 1,000 was wounded. We will never forget that day. And after the assault, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, he declared war on Japan. And 3 days later, Germany, Italy also declared war on the United States. And that led us into World War II. And what I like to do today is the listeners out there that was involved in World War II, had family members that was a part of World War II, because you know today they're hanging wreaths over the fallen soldiers that fought in that war. And that war was during the time of Franklin D. Roosevelt, and as you know, he was the president, and he was a president that operated from a wheelchair. And also, you should remember the New Deal, the WPA, the Agriculture Bill. All these things came about during that time, that period of the Depression under Franklin D. Roosevelt. And don't have time right now, but if you would sit down and do a parallel of President Obama and Franklin D. Roosevelt, what he did during hard times and what Obama is doing during tough times, they kind of parallel there. So if you're out there and a veteran that was a part and is a part of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and you know anything about that event, please share it with us this morning. We welcome your call. The number is 281-837-2222. Again, the number is 281-837-2222. And with that attack on Pearl Harbor, a lot of women lost their husbands. I know basically what I was taught about it, there was soup line, there was rationing gas. The women were basically making weapons, working in manufacturers, and all to supply the war. And when America got into the war, they had kind of been on edge ever since, about 1937 or something like that. But when the attack on Pearl Harbor took place, that was when the United States got really involved, because of President Roosevelt declared war on Japan. And what Japan wanted, they wanted to take over the import market. And the way they thought they could do that, it was take over their neighboring territory, which was China. And because of that, America became very aggressive, and they placed sanctions on the trade embargoes. So therefore, that's what led up to the fact that the Japanese got so frustrated and so angry with America in order to kind of bring us down to our knees. And then all these other countries joined in with them. So if you're out there and you have knowledge, or you want to share that information on the bombing of Pearl Harbor, because that was very devastating to us in the United States. You want to put on that, play that. I need a little bit of Jeopardy. So you can call in and let's talk about Pearl Harbor. If you're out there, if you're interested, and if you don't have any comment, or if you're too young to know, or if you're too old to care not to talk about it because it might have some pain attached to it. But there's some younger people out there that need to know this history as to what really happened on December the 7th, 1941. When because they don't teach this in school, I don't believe, when the naval base was attacked by the Japanese and killed and destroyed. They really destroyed that naval base. And it was like a planned, orchestrated attack, because they knew that all these vessels would be docked at Pearl Harbor at this particular time. So the goal was to cripple the United States, because of the fact that they wanted to take over the trade from China, and they didn't want these embargo trade sanctions. So the best thing to do was attack, and we went into, which led us into World War II. So if you don't have any comments on that, on World War II, and this is in reference to Pearl Harbor, which is a very history-making day. And if you want to go out there on the internet, you can go out there at thehistory.com, and you can look at the pictures, the video. You also can hear President Roosevelt talk about the bombing of Pearl Harbor and his approach to it. And Brokaw, he even did a segment on it that's out there on the internet, and so you can go out there and read it. And most of all, if you're not interested, if you have children or grandchildren, this is a piece of history that is very important, because just think, if the Japanese had been successful, you would not be speaking the English language today. You'll be speaking something other than. So we just need to become aware of what happened in history, and especially on this day. And I do know that Nelson Mandela passed away, and he was a profound leader and instrumental in integration and everything. So we always say that we don't know our history, but we just need to keep up with it from this point. If you don't know, you can learn. We can learn something every day. We can learn something from even our children when they go to school and come home and talk about events or something on the TV or something other than there was shoot-ups, cut-ups, and rapes and all of that. There is some history out there. And the Pearl Harbor event, we were a part of it. So if everybody out there that don't know anybody, if you wasn't taught about it in school, or if you didn't have a family member that was a part of that, so because it say naval base, so maybe it was during a time when segregation was taking place. But I know they had some people of color, if they was not doing anything but cooking and cutting and peeling potatoes and working on and mechanic work. There were people that was there, and there were people that died. So if that's not of your interest or anything, and you feel led not to talk about, that's okay too. So what we can do is we can talk about why we all need a little more Jesus. I need a little more Jesus because when I'm very passionate about this program, I'm very passionate about my ministry, and I feel like every believer is passionate about what they do. And what disturbs me more, and this way I need a little more Jesus, when we talk about things in the community and it's silent out there. And I'm not saying that you don't understand it. I'm not saying that it's not clear. But this is a dialogue in a format on a platform where you can voice, number one, your concern. You can voice and share the information, and I know that anybody out there older than me know more than me, so you should be able to share it. We got school teachers that's retired out there, they can share it. We got preachers and teachers, and we just got common everyday people that know stuff that we could share. And this is free. This is a platform for you to call in and share, other than talking about foolishness. We need to be serious about situations that happen around us, for us, and through us. We listen to misinformation about Obamacare, and we swallow that up line, hook, and sink. And we take it as the gospel instead of doing fact check and seeing what this really means for you. And if anybody out there that is against Obamacare, that means that you want to pay taxes here in Texas that's going to go to another state that's a red state. And is that fair to you? But that's what has happened. When you vote against, your governor chose to vote against the Obamacare. So we just... Minister Mitchell and I, we're going to sit in this station today, and we're just going to enjoy the music. And if you don't feel led to call in and talk about Pearl Harbor, talk about something that you need more Jesus in, I know we all need a little more Jesus. I need a little more Jesus and patience. and like you sitting out there procrastinating on what you're going to do, get up and do it. Just don't talk about it, think about it, but do it. Listen, you're on the air.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'd like to comment on the subject you're talking about, Nelson Mandela. Hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, the statement he made, and I just saw the picture. He was in prison, I think it was for 27 years.
That's right.
And it was a little bitty window that he had, to get sunlight from. I don't think I could endure something like that.
Mm-mm.
And he said he was just an ordinary man with extraordinary circumstances. And to me, that just blessed me to hear something like that, the purpose and plan that God had for him, to live out a legacy. And I wanted to talk about, I need a little bit more Jesus, because it's a lot of people that don't know Jesus. Mm-hmm. And, when we have to go through things, especially on our jobs and with our families, even in our church homes, when we have to go through a lot of things, we do need the Lord, because I'm just going to be honest, but it's some things that he requires me to do that I don't agree with, but I do them, such as love my enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to do them, though, because that's what he requires me to do. So I just wanted to make that comment. That's why I need a little bit more Jesus, and I enjoy your topic, and I enjoy your show, and God bless you.
And I thank you. Thank you for calling. And I need a little more Jesus like every day when I go on my job. Because, see, the devil, he creeps in easy and unnoticed. And he can and we can allow him into our circle by falling into those traps, because you can go to work and someone can say something that's off the wall. Instead of walking away from it, we entertain the conversation. So that's when you open the door to let Jesus in. And I know there was a time when I was working at an organization, a multi-million-dollar organization, that when I stepped my foot on that sliding door and it opened automatic, I had to be prayed up in order to stay up and stand up. Because like I said before, I was the first person to be in management position in this organization for 75 years. Just think, I came to Houston. And 75 years when I was somewhere else, wasn't even born, they still didn't have people of color in no management position. And the only reason that happened was because of Martin Luther King. So when these children walk around me now on my job, be talking this nonsense, I say, listen, you standing on my shoulder. Because I was a part of the window dressing. Because I was a part of the EEOC where they had to hire qualified. I was not a person that wasn't qualified. Because when a person hire you in their business, especially a multi-million-dollar business, they go after the best. Just like President Bush, when he was president, he got the best people to be a part of his team. And that's the way organizations are. They do not choose people that are not qualified, that do not know what they're doing. And, you know, I just was a part of that window dressing process. In order to stay there 17 years, I had to be prayed up. So I understand what the lady meant that called in. And we as people of color, you don't even have to be in a multi-million-dollar business working in an office. You can be out there working for the city, picking up garbage every day. You have to know how to work that equipment, because them trucks became computer-driven, you know. You have to know how to work that truck and them gears to drive down the street and pick them trash cans up just right. So that was another piece of technology that decreased the amount of jobs that was available, but you had to be in the right place, educated and prepared, and most of all, you had to have people skills, because every day it's not going to be your way. So that's when you need a little Jesus to work through it. And how you feel about it? No. Give your opinion.
God bless you, Miss Gloria Leonard.
God bless you, too.
This is E.J. Strong.
Go ahead, E.J. Tell us why you need a little more Jesus.
Oh, I need him every day of my life. If I didn't have him, I would perish.
We all would.
Well, and my mind runs back to the things that he brought me from. You know, it hasn't been easy for me along the way. But, you know, your tests and your trials are there to strengthen you, and your tests will become your testimony, as I heard it said. And any mess that you may have involved in will become a message if you give it over to Jesus and let him work it out. And that's why I need a little more Jesus. I need more and more of him each and every day. I think an old hymn writer said, more of Jesus and less of me.
and the flesh have to die.
That's right.
In order to do that. And, you know, as he was talking, I was thinking about what people say most of the time, especially when somebody die or there's a tragedy or something. They say, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Mm-hmm. And God, why do God let that happen? So if God let that happen, God's not just when bad things happen to good people. But it's not that God allow bad things, because he want us as his children to receive all his promises. So what it is that we have to remember, we can stop using this phrase, bad things happen to good people. It's the consequences,
right,
that come from your action.
That's right.
That's why these things happen to
right.
you. So it's not like bad, because if you say that God causing these things happen, you're saying that God's not just.
No, that's not so, yes. And even though the bad thing may have occurred, there's a scripture that said all things do work together for good to them who love God and are called according to his purpose. So when you have a purpose, which we all do, mm-hmm. he can take that thing that seemed to have been negative and turn it around to bless you, to be a blessing, or to strengthen you, to help you to grow stronger in Him.
Yes, and that happens every day in our life. Even Christians have to battle with certain avenues and failures and flaw in our character, but we work toward the goal. And, you know, we can think about David, you know, and you say David was a rascal, but every night, you know, he repented, you know, he just fell down on his face, prostrated himself. And so God bless him. So you just have to be able to do that. You know, you have to be able to recognize.
Right. Have spiritual discernment.
That's it. And Pastor Mitchell, what you need a little more Jesus in? I need some Jesus on how to make some coffee. I can't make coffee.
I need a little bit more Jesus to keep me in the direction that I have always wanted to walk in, and that's a closer walk with the Lord like Enoch. I said, Lord, let me find out what the relativity of time at that time, what is it that he did that we need to do that it could happen again. And I know that I'm working on keeping my mouth closed a little bit, not getting overexcited about things that I would admire becoming or doing, and making adjustments in my life that are necessary for me to grow as an independent citizen in the United States. Namely, Mandela had many of us, I had said earlier, if we had the mind and the attitude that he had to lead the people in South Africa. Most of us don't have that kind of initiative and that patience. The word patience I'm afraid of. Because I prayed for it, and it works on you a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, Minister Mitchell, that's just like Mandela being in Africa,
yes,
and Martin Luther King being in the United States.
Right.
It takes someone to stand up and be firm and stand for what you believe in. If you don't believe in nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Right. That's it. That's the key. That's right. And both men will, I'm sure, their report cards look a little bit different from mine because of the thing that they carried as wisdom, men of wisdom. It takes wisdom to lead people. It takes wisdom to practice self-control. It takes wisdom along with knowledge to handle the thing that these two men handle specifically. And it takes an understanding mind for our existing president to have the same kind of initiative that we have been born again in America. We were reborn when he came into presidency because we're looking at a whole new era of time. And I'm hoping and praying that I can one day attach myself to that type of wisdom and lead people. Barbara Jordan was another. Mm-hmm. Many of the renowned men and women had the knowledge and the wisdom that God can, and only God can give it, because man certainly does not attain it unless God gives it.
That's right.
But he told us to ask, so I'm asking.
Mm-hmm. And that's all that you have to do is ask for wisdom, and he will give it to you.
Yes.
And he will lead you. And we always want to feel like being Christians, we just want to be proudful and saying, I'm a Christian, I'm saved. But do you help anybody along the way? When one of your Christian brothers and sisters get in trouble, do you just sit back and talk about them instead of going over and being supportive? Mm-hmm. You know, that make us look just like the world. And then you can look at the world and say the world look better sometimes than the Christian people, because at least they care for each other.
Continue to say so.
Mm-hmm. Because if you think about the man that lives under the bridge, it's a community. Everything they get, they share.
Right.
It's a new person come under the bridge. If they drinking wine, they're going to drink out the same wine bottle. And they just share, and just a camaraderie. They look out for each other. They don't let nobody come in and steal somebody else's basket while he's sleeping. So why can't we be the same thing to our next door neighbor? You don't have to go out and try to save the world, or go on the street corner waving the Bible that's saying that I'm a Christian, you need to come to Jesus. Just start in your house, or go to your neighbor next door, and if they got children, just be there. Because children need us more than anything, because they're crying out for love and and affection.
Yes. That's well said. And of course, in the background, you're listening to Whitney Houston, I Love the Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's my song.
And I do understand that she did love the Lord with greatness.
Yes, you know, you can't look at the outward part of a person and say that what their heart is. Only God judges the heart.
Yes.
We can, and you don't know at night what's going on between them and their God. Like I say, David was a rascal, but he was after God's own heart. And he did a whole lot of wrong things that did separate him from God or his generation of children. They had to go through the mess that they created within the families and things of that nature because it was passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
Those generational curses that you can call them. So it's just an everyday process.
Yes, it is.
Every day. So I guess what we can do, we can just listen to the good music and fellowship and have a little camaraderie up here in the station and praise the Lord. And if the listeners want to join in, they can. So we're going to listen to Whitney now, I Love the Lord, in its entirety.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well.
You've been listening to Gloria Leonard Ministries' Preparing Hearts, Changing Lives radio broadcast. To receive a copy of this show or other shows, contact Gloria Leonard Ministries at 877-232-0255 or visit online at glminphcl.net. Send check or money order for $15 to P.O. Box 45715, Houston, Texas 77245 with the date of the show. If you enjoy this show and the information it provides and you'd like to just support the ministry, make your donations at Gloria Leonard Ministries website by logging on to glminphcl.net and clicking on the donation button. PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and American Express accepted. For more information and bookings, call 877-232-0255. That's 877-232-0255. Make sure you tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:15 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. And on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., where our mission is to reclaim, regain, and reunite families through prayer and to rescue our children from all unwholesome activities through prayer.
Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you? Are we the same? Are you sure? The one thing that I am sure of is that we are all beautiful children of God with a divine power deeply rooted within us.